Thank you, Mr. Times. I'm very familiar with the role of the SBDCs in Missouri. In fact, Max Summers is here, who's the state director of the Missouri SBDCs, which I've worked with for a long time. And I appreciate the work you all do.
Thank you.
Mr. West, we'll open with you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thanks to the distinguished panel for being here. And Mr. Goldman, thanks for not giving us any of your honest tea, because I'm sure it'll be an ethics violation.
Well,
if you
I have some bottles here. I'm happy to buy.
We have to get rid of the cameras if you do give us.
Just $1.50 per bottle.
Okay, I think I got it. You know, when I travel the district down in South Florida, up U.S. Highway 1, you see many closed storefronts. And, of course, that represents, 8, 10, however many Americans that once worked there. You know, there's a budget resolution proposal up here about taking, those 6 tax brackets and combine them down in 2, and that top tax bracket being at 25%. What I'd like to know is if we adopted that budget resolution proposal of having that top tax bracket at 25%, as we know, small businesses, entrepreneurs start off as subchapter S, LLCs, what would that do for the growth of small businesses in the United States of America? And I understand, I mean, we closed some of those, tax breaks, loopholes, but what would that 25% top bracket do?
So a couple thoughts. I think, first off, it's, as you know, 75% of the small businesses have no payroll. So I think it's, as I mentioned earlier, and then the 25% are really generating the sales receipts, and even a smaller percentage of that. So I think it gets back to who that would appeal to, right? Back to this notion of, at least my opinion, on high potential entrepreneurs. Tax policy is nowhere near the top of their list in terms of their concerns. It's back to capital. It's about getting the right talent, and hopefully someday, as I mentioned, they'll want to pay their taxes. And if the taxes go up, they'll work harder, which is typically what you'll hear from most entrepreneurs, at least what I hear. So I think it will help those, again, back that are traditionally, let's say, small business owners that are focused on cash flow, and in a way, they want to stay small, but could use relief in that area. The high potential folks, on the other hand, again, it won't speak to their needs. So.
Just to follow up on that, I think that's right. The year-to-year income isn't as much of a concern. It's the long term. If you were to change the capital gains rate in a significant way, that would probably make some investors less interested. But as long as it's long,
if you were to increase,
that's right. Especially on the long-term side.
What I think I might say to that is that as an entrepreneur, any dollars that remain in my pocket are dollars that I have to invest in my company. And I think that although what the 2 gentlemen before me have said, I agree with, I think that all entrepreneurs would be happy to have the opportunity to have a lower burden on themselves personally, because in many instances we would turn that money right back into investing in our business.
The clients that we see, they usually come to us other than tax issues. To be honest with you, there, and I think that any lower tax would be beneficial. But the concerns that most of our clients are expanding markets, issues with getting a loan at this particular point in time. But I could just say that any lower tax, I'm sure, would be beneficial.
Well, and I guess then that's the next question is, I mean, when you come in and you're at level A, what keeps you from getting to level B and C? What are the primary factors or obstacles that keep you from taking it to that next level that you see out here in this current economic environment?
Well, often it's capital. Being able to hire more people takes capital, or being able to invest in new initiatives, new equipment. So that's capital intensive. And then it is where there's sales. So for our brand, which is a consumer product, consumers having money in their pocket to spend, having consumer confidence is important too.
Do you feel there's a lack of predictability or certainty out there?
It certainly seems to have gotten better. We've seen it in our business pretty significantly. But sure, 2 years ago, it was a lot of people were keeping their cash in their pockets.
I think one of the interesting things that we found is that the more successful we've gotten, the more challenges we face. When you have one grocery store chain picking up your sauces, you're producing a few $1,000s worth of product at a time. When you're at 3 or 4 or 5,000, you're producing potentially several $100,000s worth of product at a time. So the need for capital really grows when you grow, and I think that's been one of our challenges. Although we've had more capital access as we've become more successful, it's kind of a beast that needs to continue to be fed, and it gets more and more difficult.
I'd like to just echo that access to capital is one of the major ones, but there are a couple other ones that we see. One is skills, skills of not only the entrepreneur but a skilled workforce, in trying to attract those types of the types of talent that they need to grow. And I think that this is increasingly important with technology-based firms. In terms of attracting those individuals that have a technical background. I think that we, especially at the university, we see in terms of some of the companies that we're working with, where the immigration issue is also a problem in terms of trying to retain those skills that are needed to help those companies grow.
Thank you, and I yield to Ranking Member Velasquez.